Catherine, and today we're going to be talking about a subject that's a little bit different than normal, but still just as important for living in an artful and mindful way. And this is the topic of mindful menstruation. So if this is something that's unfamiliar to you or seems a little bit weird or you're curious about it, then please stick with it because we're going to break down this topic and see what it means to experience your menstrual cycle in a mindful way and harness that experience for serving you throughout your month, and to get more in touch with your body on the level of its cycles and physical and mental experiences. So if you're interested and want to learn more about what it would mean for you to practice mindful menstruation, or if you have somebody in your life who you want to be able to empathize more with their experience of menstruation, then please continue to watch, and I will offer you 3 practical tips of how you can practice mindful menstruation and also dig into this term and break down what it means, what it's doing in our culture right now, and what it can do to serve you. So, what in the world is mindful menstruation, and why are people on YouTube and in my magazines talking about it? The foremost context for mindful menstruation is mindfulness itself, being attentive and open and aware of the things that are going on around us whenever we are doing or experiencing something. So not just living in our heads, but thinking about sensations and how our body feels and what our body is telling us. So if we are to experience menstruation in a mindful way, we're going to start being more attentive to our body's experiences, listening to them more, seeing what is this experience really like for me outside of all of the stereotypes of what menstruation is or should be, and not thinking just about one initial sensation or one initial side effect of that, but thinking about I am a whole person when I am in every single part of my menstrual cycle, and my menstrual cycle plays into who I am as a person because I experience it every single day of the year. So what is that doing to me on the level of creativity and productivity and motivation and inspiration and feeling close or distant from the world around me, and what are all of those little things that make up who I am as a person, including a person who menstruates? How are all of these different things throughout my life connected to this physical experience that I go through every single month? I've been seeing the idea of mindful menstruation, if not that buzzword itself, floating around a little bit in the last couple of years in different books and different kinds of media about menstrual cycles and how women or people who menstruate can experience a happier time of the month when that is happening to them. And now I'm really excited to see that mindful menstruation as a buzzword is actually coming around in my magazines and online in different forums. I think that this is really positive to have a language for starting to see and experience our menstrual cycle in a more personal and introspective and self-aware way. While there are many reasons why women are hesitant or reluctant to talk about menstruation, including shame, stigma, embarrassment, trauma, things that have happened when they've tried to talk about menstruation to people in the past, I think that one of the main reasons that people who are even not embarrassed about their period are less likely to discuss it with other women or other people in their lives will be that it's often just a really negative experience all around. It's painful, it's difficult, it doesn't make you feel good, it's expensive to deal with, so there's really no good feelings around that. Ultimately, I think that mindful menstruation is an opportunity to gain some control over what might otherwise just be a jarring, painful, and stressful experience. Does this mean that you have to enjoy your period in order to take part in a mindful menstrual experience? No. You do not have to enjoy it in order to be mindful of it. Being very self-aware of what is hard and difficult and painful that is happening to your body, or ways in which your period and your premenstrual syndromes might be weighing on you and making you feel very bad mentally every month, is also a really mindful practice. It's not saying, I'm going to start mindfully being happy about this thing that I really don't like every month, but I'm going to really start to listen to my mind and body and see how I can change how I go about my month and the days leading up to my period to feel better and to do things that will actually make me a happier, more fulfilled, more safe, and more comfortable person in the midst of all of that. There are actually several books and articles and different kinds of media that are coming out right now that are about harnessing the ebbs and flows of creativity and productivity and introversion versus extroversion. I've seen several pieces of writing that are about how women become more creative at certain points in their menstrual cycle. I don't believe that there is a secret formula to all of this, that if you do this thing on this day at this point in your cycle, then all of us can go and create the best work that we possibly can, and that at other times in the month, that's not the case. I think that it's more a matter of using all of this in order to think about, how do I feel on my menstrual cycle, and at what points in the month do I feel really engaged and empowered with certain parts of my life, and how can I tailor how I plan my weeks and my months in order to make sure that I'm doing things that I really want to at the right times in a way where I'm going to do them the best that I can. This is not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. This is about learning from ourselves and our own minds, bodies, and spirits in order to live our own lives the best that we can every day, so that we feel good about it. If you're not feeling like it's working for you, then you're probably going down the wrong route with understanding your menstrual cycle in a mindful way. So as a person who menstruates, why is this exciting to me? For me, menstruation is a time when the mind and body become a lot closer and more connected in terms of how thinking and feeling as separate levels kind of come together and meet. During the time of menstruation, people often feel things on a much more multi-sensory and complex level than other times of the month. So when I think of mindful menstruation, I think of an opportunity in order to achieve a really awesome sense of connection and alignment within ourselves. And there are a lot of ways that in society today, especially Western society, we're seeking out ways in order to get this mind-body connection, whether it's through yoga or going out into nature or meditation or any number, a whole host of things. So I think that practicing mindful menstruation is really cool as a way to use that menstrual experience in order to tap into those mind-body connections and to get more engaged with what you're thinking and feeling right in your own body yourself. The tools are all there within you, and they're so close and so accessible. And to me, that's just a really exciting prospect that we're beginning to have a language to understand this and a way into tackling this. So how can you start to do this? I'm going to give you 3 practical tips of ways that you can start to practice mindful menstruation this month or whenever your next menstrual week is coming up, or set of days. I know that everybody's cycle changes vastly from person to person, so whenever it is time for you, these are things that you can start to do. Number 1, tracking your symptoms. This is huge, 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 and not just tracking your symptoms for the sake of your doctor, but tracking them for yourself. And you can do this on paper, you can do this on a calendar, you can do this in an app. There are many great apps, and I'm going to recommend one below for you to start tracking your symptoms for yourself today. And the reason that this is so important is that you can start to see trends and cycles and patterns of what's happening to you both mentally and physically, and also map those out together. So I'm feeling this thing in my body is exhibiting these things to me, and then I'm thinking and feeling these things in my mind, and what connections can we find between those in order to understand what we're going through and why we have the feelings and sensations that we do every month, because those things are often not very apparent unless we're really deliberately looking for them. Our bodies are very complex things, just as our minds are, so trying to understand how all those puzzle pieces fit together is not easy to do unless you're keeping track in some way. Tip number 2, get creative. You could probably expect that I'm going to suggest that to you as being interested in art and mindfulness myself. So I think that harnessing all of those complicated sensations and feelings and things that are going on with you during the menstrual week itself is a great time in order to start expressing all of that. Dig into those emotions and sensations and feelings and everything that's going on, and express it through art or writing or whatever other creative practice you have, and start to see what you come up with and what things you're able to express in new and different ways. And this can also serve a really cathartic and self-care purpose for you if you're able to work through stress or tension and all of the kinds of negative thoughts that can come up for you during your menstrual cycle. or just harnessing different kinds of creativity during that time of the month and seeing what that looks like and giving yourself permission to just get messy and exciting and try new things. Tip number 3 is being gentle with yourself. This is the culmination of all of that listening to your body and paying attention and tracking and saying, okay, Catherine, what now? I've done all these things. What do I do with it? Well, start to use that information in order to really tend to what is going on inside of you in all of the different ways, on all of the different levels. And practice not just listening to your body, but answering it. What is your body asking for? What does your body need? What is your mind asking you for? And this might be something like listening to how much rest you need or how much food you need, what kinds of food. Those cravings that you might get during certain times of your menstrual cycle are not just a bunch of bad messages coming from deep within your stomach, but they're actually messages from your body saying, I need these kinds of nutrients or these kinds of fats in order to restore things within me. So listening to what your body is asking for and then playing around with that and seeing if you try to serve those requests from your body in different ways, how are you going to feel? It's all kind of trial and error and really taking the time to experiment with that, but it can be so rewarding when you really start to plan those days around what your body and your mind need. And letting the people around you know that actually I can't do this thing with you right now because I need to go tend to what my mind and body are asking me for is so empowering and so important. It's something that I encourage everyone to try to practice all the time in order to advocate for yourself and let people around you know how you are feeling. That is the first step to starting more conversations about menstruation and menstrual experience. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked hearing about mindful menstruation, if this is something you practice already or something that you want to know more about. And I would love to hear from you in the comments below about what your thoughts on talking about mindful menstruation and menstruation in general more often are, and how you are feeling about videos in general on this channel, and if you have any requests or things that you would like to see in the future. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications on the channel homepage. See you next week.